Welcome to Canada's podcast, the number one podcast for entrepreneurs by entrepreneurs. Hello and welcome to Edmonton's podcast on Canada's Podcast Network. I'm your host, Mario Toneguzzi, and joining me today is Kirk Zembal, who is co-founder of Blindman Brewing in Edmonton. Thanks for joining us today, Kirk.
Hey, good to be here.
Give me a little bit of a history first, Kirk, about Blindman, when you started it, and what you guys do.
Yeah, you betcha. So we started our brewery in 2014. We brew out of the city, I guess, not town, of sunny Lacombe, Alberta, just down the road from Edmonton. We first started brewing beer in about 2015. It took us about a year to get going. Had to get the building, had to get everything going, and we just try to brew the best beer we can. Using the best ingredients, the best local ingredients we can, and have a lot of fun doing so.
How did you get started in this and why?
Yeah, so I joked that a generation ago we would have been like, hey, we should open a bar, but basically it was just a group of beer geeks, honestly, who just kind of saw the world out there and saw craft beer booming and just wanted to throw our hat into the ring and get into it.
Let's talk a little bit of some of the specifics about the business. Do you have like a location, like a tap room?
Yeah, you betcha. Down in Lacombe, we have a little tap room. Obviously, these days it's pretty low capacity, but it's a place where somebody can stop by and get a pint or two and some samples and small snacks.
Okay, and where is the distribution in the province? All over, or?
Yeah, we're available most every community in Alberta at this point, and we're also available Saskatchewan, Manitoba, BC, the territories, occasionally in Ontario as well.
Oh, okay then. And how many brands do you have?
Yeah, we the best part about being a craft brewery is that you can kind of do whatever you want, and we generally do. So at any one time, we've got 8, 9, 10 different beers in the market. We're always kind of changing things up and having some fun.
Okay. How in terms of the actual beers themselves, how do the formulas or the recipes come together for that?
No, I guess by drinking beer. But yeah, we've had some success over the years in just kind of nailing a lot of recipes. So we do on some we test batch on a smaller system. On some we kind of just sit down and make a recipe and brew it on the big system. And our batting average is pretty good.
Okay, then. Can you talk a little bit about the craft brewing industry? Like, there is so many of them out there right now in Alberta. Why do you see such a phenomenal growth in the past couple of years in this industry?
Yeah, so when we first brewed beer in 2015, October 2015, we were brewing number 20 in the province, and now there's 140, I believe.
Oh, wow.
And that's replicated all across North America and in Europe and other markets as well. There's just a number of reasons, but mainly it's driven by beer drinkers. Beer drinkers are just kind of sick of drinking the same old, watered down macro lagers, and they're looking for something better, something more local, and we just kind of fit right in there.
And have you seen the demographic for consumers changing over the last few years?
Yeah, absolutely. I probably would not have started this brewery if my old man hadn't started drinking some craft beer. He had his first Big Rock beer, and he's like, "Oh, this tastes pretty good." If you can take Pilsner drinkers and you turn them into craft beer drinkers, you can have some fun. And that's actually one of the best parts about being in Lacombe is that we have people come into our tap room, with no preconceived notions, and we just get to, present them with a whole bunch of different beers, and pretty much every time there's something that just kind of widens their eyes and makes them go, okay, this is interesting. Beer could taste like this. Oh, right on.
Yeah, I guess in terms of the market too, you're seeing more of a younger demographic partaking, and as well as a female demographic.
Yeah, our beer our beer definitely skews more female than say your Budweisers or whatever, and that's again for a number of reasons. I think mainly because women haven't been marketed, drink Budweiser, drink Canadian for their whole lives, so they're just a little bit more open minded, it seems. But yeah, we see generally we see beer drinkers from all walks of life, all over the place. And yeah, every generation is different. Every generation seems to like their certain things. So we kind of, yeah, we kind of fit everybody, it seems.
What's your, I guess, vision for the future for the company, Kirk?
Yeah, we're just trying to have some fun. Beer is fun. Everybody, nobody gets too worked up about beer, so we were just trying to keep doing what we're doing, having some fun, creating new recipes, introducing new beers to the market. Yeah, nothing, no real big goals to take over the world. That's for sure.
What's it been like for you being an entrepreneur? Like, let's start with some of the biggest challenges you've faced.
Yeah, it's definitely an adventure, and this is my first kind of big venture. I had a little one before, and yeah, for me, I guess it was just jumping in. That's it's a pretty deep pool you're jumping into. There's definitely some risk. You're putting up your house, and even now, I had this notion that you get a loan from the bank, and then over time you paid off that loan. But what you do in business is you just keep getting bigger and bigger loans. So even today, if things were to go south, I'd lose my house. But thankfully, things have been going pretty well for us.
So, what did you do before this?
Yeah, I was in the oil field and had a little tiny little one man consultancy in the directional drilling field.
Well, this is a lot more fun, obviously.
Yeah, people don't tend to get worked up too much about beer in the oil field. Yeah, tempers can fly a little bit.
What's when you look at being an entrepreneur? What are some of the things that you enjoy most about being one?
Yeah, just the dynamism of everything. Some days it can be a bit much, but there's just things that come across your desk, and you've never done them before, but you're not stuck in a lane. You get to kind of move as you see fit and take things on as you see fit, and succeed or fail as you will.
Yeah, and being based out of Lacombe, and for those out there that are beyond Alberta, don't know where Lacombe is. It's almost like halfway between Calgary and Edmonton, on just off the highway, the Queen Elizabeth II highway. What are the advantages of running a business in a town like Lacombe?
Uh, well, we did look at Edmonton initially, and at the time, the zoning bylaws, I guess, weren't really conducive to what we were trying to do. We're a craft brewery, so we're a brewery. We're an industrial plant. We got trucks coming, we've got things moving, noises, smells, everything. But we also want to run essentially a restaurant, a bar, and a liquor store in an industrial zone. And this city of Lacombe was willing to work on pretty much anything we asked, and we could speak to them and say, okay, this is what we're trying to do, and this is what we could hopefully do for the community. And yeah, it's been awesome.
Yeah, like, is there any entrepreneurial background in your family? Like, just wondering where this kind of came from.
Yeah, as a Western Canadian, you typically can't go too far back before you hit a farmer. And so yeah, definitely, my dad, my grandparents were all farmers, and a farmer is nothing if not an entrepreneur.
What do you think you learned from living that, I guess, that lifestyle, and bringing brought up in that lifestyle?
Yeah, like what did I learn from from my parents who grew up on the farm? Just the idea that you got to work hard, the idea that things are always changing. My dad has a farm which has been in the family, since the early 1900s. And you know, my I guess my grandmother, she kept a record of every harvest essentially since going back since the 30s. And
Wow.
you can just see the variability. You can see, you know, things change. There's good times and there's bad times. But the only constant is change. And so even in, you know, we see change in the world, or we see hiccups or full pandemics. And you know, if you go back far enough, and you typically don't have to go back that far, there's definitely a disruption and change in the world, and you just kind of have to roll with it.
So what did your father farm?
Well, he works at he pretty much worked at, well, he primarily worked at a fertilizer plant, and now the farm is mainly hayland. Um,
Yeah. So, in terms of other interests that you might have, Kirk, like obviously everybody talks these day and age about work-life balance, et cetera. And I know being an entrepreneur can consume your day, many hours there. Like, what else do you do, I guess, to develop some of that balance on the other side of on your personal side?
yeah, definitely. A business can be a black hole of your time, but a lot of it, at least for me, is that you just enjoy it so much. You just get a lot out of it, so it's easy to kind of feed hours into it. But I've got a couple kids, and I like to spend time with them. I'm also an MBA student right now at the U of A, so that takes a bit more of my time. But I'm looking forward to the Christmas time, and yeah, just kind of getting out and about and doing some skiing, doing some skating, enjoying the winter.
Okay. And what's your favorite beer?
I would say it's our session ale. You know, it's our kind of our most popular beer, but it just hits me just right most days. I joke it tastes like another.
Sorry, it takes like what?
It tastes like another. You have one, and you're like, I could go for another one.
Yeah, okay. And what you know, when you look back at yourself, just when did you start to become, I guess, interested in craft beer in terms of just drinking it?
Yeah, there's always just that one beer, or there's just a shift, and you're just like, okay, beer could taste like this. And it was you know, other craft breweries, whether US based or here in Alberta. And you know, it kind of gets the wheels turning in your head. You're like, okay, this tastes pretty good.
Yeah, and do you have like I'm not sure if the proper term is a distiller, so to speak, or that handles the recipes and all that, or
Yeah, so we have a head brewer, Lisa. She's awesome, and she basically, you know, leads our brewing team. And you know, it's a collaborative effort, coming up with the recipes and deciding what kind of beers to brew, which again is the fun part of brewing. Brewing is mainly cleaning, so you know, because it's a food product, everything has to be sanitary, everything has to be safe. So anytime you get to design something new and put your creativity to use, those are usually good days for brewers.
okay then, and when you look at just the overall business for you folks since you started, are you happy how things have gone in terms of sales and your reach, etc.?
Yeah, definitely. We've been super happy about how everything has gone. You know, we probably got lucky, or we you know, saw the future a little bit, but we rode a big wave of growth. And we haven't had to compromise on beers or what we want to do or how we want to do it. And so, honestly, I couldn't be happier.
Okay, well, that's been great. I appreciate you taking the time to spend with us, Kirk.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks a lot, Mario.
All right, that was Kirk Zembal, who is co-founder of Blindman Brewing out of Lacombe. This has been Edmonton's podcast with the Canada Podcast Network. I'm your host, Mario Toneguzzi. Thanks for joining us today.